Hey y'all, welcome back to Chat with Coach Amy. What did I say a while ago? This is like the second time we tried to record. Guess who's back? Coach JJ. There we go. We did that well. We are having coffee. It is 8 a.m. Central Standard Time on a Friday morning, and we are recording a podcast. What in the world?
Okay, here's something people need to just understand. Okay, this is real for all women, for all adults. So get over yourself. Quit thinking you're gonna have the best time and you're gonna have all the time to sit and have coffee and go on dates and have fun. No, we literally have to schedule time to talk to each other, and half the time we cancel the time to talk.
Hey, do you mind if I cancel? Blah blah blah. Yeah, sure, that's fine. My day's been stupid.
So you just have to keep being intentional. You just have to keep being intentional. So
and you also should download Marco Polo, because that's what's kept our friendship alive.
Amen. And I have right now, I think four polos, and with different people. And if it wasn't for polo, because it doesn't require us to be available at the same moment. Mm-hmm. You know, you can be on your one-on-one calls or doing a Zoom or a live or whatever. I can send you a message and then you see me, so you get all this.
Yeah.
And then when you're done, you can reply on your own. And I might be on a one-on-one call or helping my family or all the many things.
Right.
So yeah.
I love Marco Polo. Now, if it went for Marco Polo, we'd still be best friends, but it's just a lot easier.
Absolutely. We would find other ways, but I see so many, especially women, because that's just where we're going to talk, is mostly to women. And we have this expectation of, especially me, like I'm an empty nester again.
Woo-hoo! Finally.
I thought, it was just going to be all this free time and I could do whatever. And yes, it's going to be easy. But my friends have 5 kiddos and thriving businesses and husbands and families, and we all have things. So,
JJ, you know what I'm excited about?
Our camping trip.
Yeah. And we've got to get a puppy sitter because we're not taking the dogs. We went to the camp a couple weeks ago, and Emma D came and stayed with the dogs, and it was wonderful. I love my dogs, but God bless America. I can't imagine Southern trying to be in my camper. I think he'd rip it from top to tail.
Yeah.
So anyway, he's at least going to stay home. But we're going to get that figured out. I don't know if Emma D can do that, but Bella said, it's okay. I've got a lot of friends that would love to stay at our house all weekend. I was like, oh, okay. And I'll pay them. I'll pay them dollars, lots of dollars.
Yeah. It's totally great. We used to get a dog sitter pretty often. And, I don't have to anymore, but we'll have Jazzy with us. But she is a complete separate thing than Southern.
Yeah. I mean, Henry's good too, but he barks at everybody, that darn schnauzer, and I can't break it. I've tried. So anyway, it's all good. We're just going to leave him here and it'll be fine. So, okay, we were talking before the first recording that we tried, and it was only for a few seconds, and I realized there was something I wanted to change. Anyway, y'all don't care about that. So Jennifer, y'all just don't know. She has been so busy. We haven't recorded a podcast since we went to the THM Coaches Retreat. Like, we were real life in person. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so I don't even think we didn't do as YouTube, because we were just recording it audio. But anyway, it's been a while. So catch us up with just like some highlights of what's been going on. And then I have something that I want to say.
Okay. So it's just been a hectic season. So, I have 2 kids, Gavin and Emma. Emma is in Florida, happily married. And then Gavin had moved back from Texas in December. And we thought, my husband had the brilliant idea to build our son a house. And that sounds easy in theory. It wasn't quite so easy in practice, especially in a post-COVID world with all the supply issues.
Yeah.
And so we've been working through that. That's been my biggest hecticness. It's just been something constant with that. But a highlight since May, which really kind of rocked our world in an amazing way. Papa, my daddy, as I say, finally received. He's your papa. He finally received a kidney transplant.
Mhm.
So August 16th, and which seems like, well, so what? What was between May and August? Everything, all the things. Just one little thing after another, and it hasn't been terrible things, but it's
You were
just
sick. You were sick for a little while too.
yes,
It
yes.
seems like.
I have been sick. I think I got sick before and after. Yes, before and after the transplant. So I think I got sick
Yeah.
at the beginning of
And
May.
also, so we went to the coaches retreat and did the grocery store. I think it was grocery store we talked about. And then the next weekend we were at the beach together with my clients. And then a month or so later, we went to Dallas. Where did we go? Fort Worth for
Yeah.
the coaches conference. What did Chris call it? The coaches clinic. I like that better. It's cuter.
Yeah, I do too.
And then you traveled some too. Where'd y'all go?
Yes, we went to Glacier National Park. Well, I went to North Carolina with Lindy,
Right.
and that was very last minute, unexpected, which is one of the beauties of being an adult mama. You can just drop and go. So I went to North Carolina with her on a whirlwind trip, got home from her trip on Monday night late, and left at 4 a.m. Tuesday morning going to Glacier.
No, because I've known you. How long has it been? Almost 16 years. Oh,
Yes.
my stars. I could not believe she did this. Wes was like, she ain't gonna make it. I was like, bet she will. That girl's ready to go on that trip.
Yes.
That was a great, beautiful
We went
picture.
to Glacier, and what was fun about Glacier is there's a Trim Healthy Mama coach, a Tipsmith coach, Nicole.
Oh yeah, Coach Nicole, that's right.
And she's in Montana, and I had gotten to meet her in person with you in Nashville, but she lives, I think, 2 hours from the airport, and her whole family drove to the airport and brought me fresh picked huckleberries.
Oh.
And what else did she bring me? Hang on, my brain's going dead.
I have no idea. Did she bring you some gluten-free sourdough? Because that's her specialty.
She didn't, but man, why didn't I ask her to bring
I don't know. She probably said, you can eat gluten. Why would I waste my gluten-free sourdough on you, woman? That's what I'd have said. I ain't wasting that on you. You can have gluten.
But anyway, it was great to see her, and we got to do Glacier, and yeah, so we did that. And then we got home from that. It felt like we had just gotten to breathe, and at 2:50 in the morning, we got the call, head to the Houston VA. We're ready to do a transplant.
Okay. And on my end, as the best friend and the, what would you call me? I'm the bonus daughter. That's what I am. Sure. I'm the bonus daughter. I think they claim me. So anyway, this is not the first time that we've gotten this call. And I say we because JJ says we adopted Camp and Knox. So yeah, there's been 6 calls, but there was also one where a dude was about to go into surgery and the doctor was like, I don't like the looks of this kidney. And we're all like, okay. So she called me. I was up early for some reason. And I'm like, oh my gosh, Jennifer, it's kidney. I think this is a go. And Wes is like, well, last time. I'm like, oh, you have a little faith. So anyway, I talked to her. I don't know where I was going or what I was doing. Was I going to CrossFit and I talked to you?
Probably.
No, that was the day I was driving to Hattiesburg, I think. It was really early in the morning. I had to go for that emergency pellet. It was really early.
Because you had yes. Mm-hmm.
We all remember. So anyway, and we're going to get to the topic soon, friends, we promise. But this is just how our friendship works. So like I'm driving an hour and a half, and I think we talked almost the whole time because she's driving. And I mean, you get bored when you're by yourself. I've called her many a day over these 16 years and said, please get me home. I'm so tired. Please get me home. And if y'all need somebody to talk to and you might not really want to talk, JJ's your girl. Because she can talk about anything and everything for however long it needs to be. And you will be more informed than you ever thought. Anyway, very informed. But you know a lot. You do know a lot of stuff. I used to call her Dr. JJ. I still could, but now I remember things because she taught me. And then she'll be doing something. I'm like, oh, don't forget, you need to do this. And she's like, oh, I forgot.
You keep me on track. You really do.
Okay.
You really do.
So anyway, Pepal's surgery. And so I'm just sitting there like waiting all day. And I'm just like, oh, And so finally I texted her. I went, can I please be on the family text chain? Because I have not gotten an update in a while. She was like, I'm so sorry. He's doing great. And then it was just, he got, next thing we know, man's got the kidney and it's all working. And oh my stars.
Just absolutely unreal. Like, they started the surgery and we're still just, on edge, because literally he was on the operating table the last time they
Right.
called it off. Now, they hadn't made any cuts or anything, but he was literally laying
Ready to
there,
go.
ready to go. And the doctor called off that procedure. And so, and I mean, Houston's 6 hours from us. So it's not like, oh, you just went to your local hospital. I mean, it's a whole ordeal to get there, and just the emotion. And so, and of course, you're while you're hopeful and excited for your own family member, it's you're so brutally aware of the sacrifice another family is dealing with.
Yeah.
while you're on this hopeful side, they are dealing with loss and tragedy. So
Right.
Although there is living donation for kidney, because you only need one,
Right.
but anyway, so yeah, we got the surgery started, and it wasn't even an hour, and we got a call from one of the people in the room, and they just said, hey, just wanted y'all to know the kidney's working.
It's crazy.
Mind blowing. But yeah. And then
I mean, when you think about somebody birthing a child, it was in the belly and it's out of the belly. Like, but this is just so, to me, I mean, that's beautiful and a miracle for sure. But they took a kidney from someone else's body and figured out how to hook that thing back up to somebody else. Like, that blows my mind. And he looks so good. And I know I know there was some hiccups and bumps in the road that we don't need to go into, but it's amazing.
Yeah. It's been huge, and we had to stay in Houston for a month, and I stayed there for most every day of the first 2.5 weeks. Mm-hmm. So I came home for a brief couple days and then went back to relieve my mom, and honored and thrilled to be able to do that for my parents. And that's the beauty of being a coach. I was able to coach my people. Yep. From there, luckily, and I'm so thankful for my clients. The ones who were with me the month of the procedure had actually been with me all year. So when I just sent a text and said, hey, I'm MIA, we're getting a transplant, like, they were covering me in prayer, and just, they didn't care that I wasn't texting them about THM. They didn't care. They were lifting me up. And you really form some bonds with some of your people. And, some people just want to hop in and do their little training and go. And then others just develop these really beautiful friendships.
That's
and
right.
I'm going to shout out to Heather and Lisa right now.
You should.
Who you are. And I love y'all. And just knowing that they were praying me up as my client.
Do I know Lisa? I know Heather. Do I know Lisa?
You don't know Lisa.
Okay.
You don't know Lisa, but she's pretty amazing. I know. Look, I keep saying, what good excuse do I have to go to Arkansas? Because she's in Arkansas, and that's all I'll say. I'm not going to throw her out there.
Have you not seen these? Okay, what am I watching that I see these commercials about Arkansas? I don't know. Netflix. Does Netflix have commercials? No.
I mean, there's so much up there. And when we were looking to go to Glacier,
go for free, like free. I mean, like, there's so many things you can do for free in Arkansas, and I'm like, well, why have I not been? What is wrong? So let's go.
Let's do it.
I love it.
But yeah, that's what my life has been, and it's good. Yeah. It's all good. Yeah, Daddy's doing great. Busy. Gavin has been out of my house for 3 nights.
She texted me the thing from Home Alone. Was it Macaulay Culkin, or is that what it was? And it says, I am home alone.
Yeah. And y'all, just saying, just so you know, if he wasn't literally on my same driveway, we have a very long, almost half-mile driveway, and his house is up toward the top. If he wasn't on my driveway, I wouldn't be this ecstatic about him being in his own place.
No, he wouldn't.
But because he is this close, I can have the joy of, he's gone. Because, like, literally, I still see him every day.
That's right. So we're going to move on to our topic. But first, I want you to share your vending machine story the day of the transplant, real quick.
Okay, so
it's hilarious.
You can imagine the nerves, just the stress, the tension, the anxiety of this transplant. I mean, my dad is 70, and other than the fact that he went into
Well, I
Yeah.
mean, we're in our 40s. I don't know what I'm thinking. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, it's some pressure. It's some pressure. And it was just my mom and I there waiting. My brother stayed home. And I knew something, I mean, it's all on me. If something goes sideways, it's all on me. And, rough.
Yeah.
So in my head, it's like, I'm sitting next to a vending machine. I'm having a Milky Way. Done. Can't do this. I want some sugar and I'm going to have a Milky Way. If any day calls for Milky Ways, it's today. And there is a vending machine. Like I'm sitting in the waiting room chair here, and there's literally a vending machine this close to me. But this is the side of it, so I can't see the front of it. I thought, I'm gonna I won't nobody know. And even if they do, who cares? I'm having a Milky Way. So get up,
Oh, I'm
got my
dying.
money, and I go around, I turn to the machine. Y'all, this was the THM holy grail of vending machines. Wasn't a Milky Way in sight.
God went, booyah.
What? I think there were only 2 items in the entire vending machine that were completely off plan. There were a couple that were more on the personal choice items, but like if you're in a hospital waiting room and you need a vending machine, they would have been perfectly okay to take. But I sat there like, what? Like there were buys in this thing. There were, the kind bars were the ones that would have been kind of iffy, but I'm like, what? There were popcorners in this machine. I'm like, no.
She texted me, you're not gonna believe this. I said, that's what you get.
Yeah. So I sat down and saved my money because I had a bag full of THM snacks with me. I just wanted that sugar in that moment, which is really a great segue into the topic you wanted to discuss, because I really, in my head, I needed that sugar in that moment. And I didn't need it. I wanted it. And I don't think there would have been a person on the planet that would have been like, yeah, I don't blame you. Like, I don't think anybody wouldn't have understood in that moment if I had chosen, I'm going to have a Milky Way. But it wouldn't have served me well.
No. You'd have had a migraine. You'd have had a migraine. I know you. So our topic.
I had all that.
Yep. You'd have been cranky. Okay, so our topic is THM foods and habits, then and now, for Coach Amy and Coach JJ. So, man alive. I shared my before in the white sports bra with the belly with a CrossFit friend this morning. He's a guy. My picture is all over the internet. It doesn't matter to me. It is not flattering. I'm not worried about that picture. And so I showed it to him and he was like, oh my word. I'm like, I know. And he was like, what? How did you get here? And I was like, oh, I'm so glad you asked. Oh, I was telling him all that. Anyway, so my habits were that I did nothing because I couldn't. I was in such pain. I was sick all the time. I had Amy-itis, which ticked me off every time a doctor told me that. I don't know what's wrong with you. You know what I had? It was inflammation because I was unhealthy. And I was sedentary and I ate junk all the time. And Jennifer told me one time, she was like, you feed your kids so healthy. And I'm like, well, then why do I feel this way? Well, you know what I was doing? I was hiding stuff. I was having, I've told my Blooms this not too long ago. I would go to the grocery store by myself. And I know people do this all the time. So if you do this, I'm going to tell you right now, you can come out of it because I'm living proof. I would get a Reese's and a Dr. Pepper for a prize because I went to the grocery store by myself. What the world? But it turned into, they started coming out, with those Reese's King Cups. Then they had the double Reese's King Cup. I'm going to look today. Oh my God. Can you imagine how much sugar is in that? Don't nobody need to be eating that. They need to quit making those. I'm sorry. They don't need to make those anymore. But that's what I would do to myself. And golly, JJ, I would go to the daggone grocery store twice a week sometimes. Can you imagine? And do you remember when our McDonald's came out with the coffee drinks? So I don't know I know you don't follow all my things, but we went to Starbucks a couple weeks ago and I
Mhm.
was very excited. And the lady ended up telling me that I could get a pumpkin spice latte without added sugar. And I was like, well, thank you. Well,
Yeah.
she was not correct because the
Mhm.
syrup has sugar in it that she put in. She wasn't putting it together because you know what? It's not her responsibility to understand what I need. So I took a sip of that. I knew it had sugar in it and I did not drink it.
Good for you.
51 grams of sugar in a pumpkin spice latte from the Starbucks. 51. Quit drinking those, y'all. Quit it. That's straight to your bloodstream. Oh my word. So no wonder I
So,
look like I looked.
so they didn't even try to use a sugar-free flavoring, which still is questionable. They just made it
Not.
regular.
She did, but she
Wow.
didn't put sugar in it. So in her brain, it didn't have sugar. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So she
Wow.
was just a little confused. And I told my people, you know, when I talked about that, I'm not mad at that girl. She just didn't know. She didn't understand. And they were super busy, long line, whatever, take me home. But I ended up making my own once I got here and everything was fine.
That's
So,
right.
so
Yeah.
you know,
And you're right. It's your responsibility,
it
not
is
theirs.
mine. It's mine. It's my responsibility to feed myself and prepare and know what I'm asking about. And
Mhm.
sometimes we make mistakes, but that is a lot of my, like with my habits. You know, I would do that. That was like the no because when we were home, I wanted my kids to be healthy. And so I tried to mirror that for them. But I mean, evidence is Amy wasn't doing right.
Right.
Amy wasn't doing
Well,
right.
we always put our kids, our husbands, our family, we usually put ourselves last. And which is why I posted about self-care yesterday, because it's so important. I kind of had a unicorn day. So, it's not the normal self-care, but I mean, even just thinking about, what am I going to do to serve me well?
Right.
Because then I can serve others well.
I agree.
Yeah. And, you talk about sharing your picture with the guy at CrossFit.
Mm.
Pictures are huge
They are.
because I
We
haven't
send
had
we send before and afters to each other like weekly. And it's like,
it,
oh,
it's huge. We need to do that because I will tell you, and I know Mama's going to hear this. So,
we're sorry.
yeah. Anyway, it's good, Mama. This was a good thing you did, but I'm throwing you under the bus. So, uh, while we were at the hospital post-transplant, Mom and I were talking about Trim Healthy Mama because I was struggling. The Houston VA needs to step up their game for food. Let me just say. And I actually sent Amy pictures of the sushi that I was eating with white rice because it was literally the best option in the
Right.
cafeteria, other than salads. But that's a whole nother story why I couldn't do those salads. But it was, for me, it was honestly the best option. And so we were discussing Trim Healthy Mama, and she's like, well, I just need to ask, you've been doing this, but you're not at goal weight. So why do you still believe it works? And I'm like, well, first off, I know I'm healing. And
Right.
could I be healing at a faster rate? Sure. But we all make choices, whether that's, not being 100% on plan, or maybe just not choosing the foods from Healthy Mom, like choosing enough ease, or, flipping your meals around enough. There's so many ways to tweak the plan for your specific needs.
That's right.
And so there's things I could be doing to make it even faster. But pictures. I pulled up a picture pre-THM and I showed it to my mother and I said, this is where I was. And her eyes were huge. She went, I don't remember you like that.
Yeah. You've said that about me before.
Right. I never saw you as overweight, fat, unhealthy, anything. You had big boobs. That's all I ever remember.
Huge. They was huge.
But seriously, and I knew that because I knew of the struggles with your back, and it wasn't it wasn't great proportion for your small frame. And we just, we're best friends, guys. We talk about all that kind of stuff.
That's
Okay.
right.
It's what you do.
Everything.
Everything. But in my head, that was the only thing that Amy needed to work on. And it really wasn't something she could work on, like that. It was like, that was just the only thing she needed. I never saw her as overweight or unhealthy. But now, of course, looking back, it's like, wow,
Wow. Mm-hmm.
wow. And so for me to look back at those pictures, but that is part of it. I've come so far. I've lost 35 plus pounds. So I've kind of gotten to a comfortable space because, hey, 35 pounds is fabulous. And I need to recognize, okay, I'm at a good place, but I can be at an even better place and just keep going. And that's what Trim Healthy Mama is. And that's why I wanted to become a coach, because some of us really relate to the people who have kind of made it. They've hit the mark. They're maintaining, like Coach Amy. They're, you know, like you're the success. You know, you've learned all this, but then others feel like they need somebody who's still digging in the trenches, figuring it out, struggling with them. You know, everybody has a different need and what they want in somebody to encourage and inspire them, you know? So, and Amy encouraged me in that. I felt like, no, I'm not at goal weight. I'm not, you know, I'm not there. But I've learned a lot in the years that I have been eating healthier, implementing Trim Healthy Mama, you know, how to do it on the road, how to do it in life's chaos, and keep going. So take the pictures because they will tell you. Oh, and then have a friend that will send you those pictures from their own memories and be like, look at what you've done. Look at where you're at. Because sometimes you get in your own
cry.
Well, you made me cry the other day. She sent me the best. I wish I could screen share it. It was the best. It was 2 side by sides of me, and she talked about how I had helped her. So
you did.
It's a two-way street.
I really am crying.
I know.
Stop it.
Stop.
Okay. So something that came out, you know, how things just like blah, 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 out of our mouth. So she's crying too. We both crying. We really haven't seen each other very much. It's sad.
We're going camping.
Do we have to bring Wes and the kids in red?
Hey, I still say we need to plan.
Oh gosh.
Okay.
Plan what? Where are we going?
We need to plan a coaching planning session again like we did last year.
I really have all my things planned, but that's fine. I can fudge it. It's fine. Oh, bless. Okay. Yes. So something that poured out of my mouth during a live in my free group a couple of weeks ago was I don't break promises to myself. Like it just kind of came out, and I don't. Since I decided to do THM and start CrossFit, like it's not something that just happened overnight. But I mean, 6 years ago, I walked into that CrossFit gym and I have gone almost every single week, at least once. There's a couple times where it hasn't worked out, but that has been a very steady, integral, right? That's right word. Part of my journey. And it is something that I am extremely proud of. I made the comment the other day, somebody said something about handstand push-ups. You go upside down on the wall and you squat down and you do a push-up upside down. And I was like, that's one thing I'm good at, or I'm good at doing one of or something. And somebody went, that's one thing, like one of all the things. And I'm like, oh, and they're like, they were like, listen off all these things that I could do. And I'm like, well, bless America, I can do a lot of things.
That's right.
And I have the stamina to do things in real life. Like I can really help, like he's like, hey, can you help me pick this up? You know, and different things like that. And it's been really good. I was able to help my mom when she had to have emergency hand surgery because my daddy has to be moved from the bed to the chair. He's a quadriplegic. And the first time I went to pick him up, we almost went backwards because they said, you got to pull hard. And I'm like, okay, I'm pulling hard. And she went, not that hard. Just pull. She said, just do it regular. You got it. So I would just do it regular and it was fine. I mean, Wes had to go do it a couple times because of I was not here or something like that. But pretty much I did it every single time. Didn't break a sweat, didn't hurt my back. And it was a wonderful thing that I was able to help them do that. Like really,
absolutely.
Really. So, you know, that's a habit that I did not have, exercising regularly. You know, and it's just fun. The guys at CrossFit have their barbells loaded. I'm like, yo, well, how much is that? And I'm like, let me try to pick it up one time while you rest. And, you know, I did 235-pound deadlift the other day. And I'm like, why was no one recording this? You know, and so I just tried to be able to push myself a little bit, but I don't like in a workout though, I'm not doing 235 pounds. I mean, I can just pick it up once, y'all. Don't get your drawers in a lot. But I'm wise and I don't overdo it. Today, the movement that we had to do with the barbell during the workout was just the bar. I'm not doing all that crazy stuff. I don't run 5Ks every weekend. I don't do that. No.
So if I'm running, it's probably because one of these is chasing me.
But the whole topic of I don't break promises to myself. I think I really, last year when I did the 100 days on plan thing,
that was huge.
I think that's really when it hit me that I have discipline. I am disciplined.
Mm-hmm.
And it is just not worth going off plan for me. It's not. And so this time I'm doing 100 strong. And so it's a little kind of a step up from what I did last year of 1,000 women that signed up for it.
That's amazing.
It blows my mind. I know that not all of them will complete it, but they started and they tried. And I think that is huge. If they just get 10 days, fine. But I really encourage them that even if day 13 you blew it, you can still start again on day 14. And that's right. What you talked about. And I was like, market it, beginners. That's what Jennifer is really good at, because that's what your story is. And so I just really think that people need that perspective. And if you can't have that mindset about keeping promises to yourself today, maybe you can tomorrow, and keep trying more and more every day. And next thing you know, you're going to be just killing all the goals. That's what
I mean, that's what's great. People kind of camp on that food freedom with Trim Healthy Mama. And yes, we do have food freedom. We can choose so many different things and we can choose different ways. But what's really, really, really huge for me, for somebody who is a beginner is what I kept saying, a beginner, that 3-hour reset, no matter what you've done, because I feel like too often we get this failure mentality of, well, I blew today, so I may as well, or I blew lunch, so I may as well not worry about the rest of the day. No. Let your body recover. So what if you messed up? Okay. So what if it wasn't even a mistake? So what if you decided, you know what? I haven't been to this restaurant in a while. This is my favorite treat here. I really love this meal, this item. I'm going to choose it. Fine, choose it. And then reset. Do not let it be like, oh, well, I had that thing that I shouldn't have had at lunch. So now I'm going to have a snack I shouldn't have. I'm going to have a dinner I shouldn't have. No. My
favorite analogy for that is you don't slash the other 3 tires because one of them went flat. That is my favorite. I love that.
Yes.
Hear me, and we say it again. You're not just going to slash your 3 of your tires because one is flat. That's saying, I blew lunch, so snack, supper, and the next morning's breakfast are all going to be off plan. Wrong. No. That is breaking promise to yourself. And if you continually, if you made that conscious choice, or if you didn't make a choice, you just ate emotionally, have some discipline that your next fueling is on plan. That's how you build discipline, and that's how you build confidence in yourself. And that is what I have been able to do. You have to overcome that failure and the self-sabotage. Oh, I've been talking about all those things because I see so many women that are just letting themselves go, and it breaks my heart. Like, I have business cards that I really need to use up because they don't have my new logo that's pink and beautiful, and I'm just like, they seem so sad, just like, oh, it makes me want to cry, just like walking in the grocery store or wherever. That's really the only place I go besides church and CrossFit. But I just want to say, here's my card. Even if you don't hire me as a coach, you can do that. Like, I just want to say, here, this will help you. But people, I can't do that because people have to be ready,
Absolutely. They have to be ready. They have to get to that point of, I can't do this anymore. Mm-hmm. And hopefully they'll get to that point and they will choose Trim Healthy Mama. But anything we do to improve our health, whether it is more movement or, just cutting back on some things, but obviously we believe in Trim Healthy Mama. I truly believe it is the healthiest way.
Absolutely.
to be. I just,
You cannot argue with the range and I don't know what it is, the different groups of women that have seen success. You cannot argue with it, because I have clients that are 20 to almost 80 years old and they've all seen success. But
absolutely.
you can't sign up for one-on-one with her or me or Buds and just think you're going to make it. You have to put in effort. It takes work. It takes discipline and it takes effort. But I always want people to know they are worth that, because I had issues thinking that I wasn't worth all of that. That is a lie from Satan.
That's right.
The Bible says that we are cherished and loved and valued, and something
fearfully and wonderfully made.
Yes. And something that goes even deeper for me that I didn't realize until a few years ago, like the serious truth of it, like I've heard it my whole life. My body is the temple. It is my responsibility to keep it healthy. It is his. This is not me. This is not mine. This is God's. And it is my responsibility to keep it healthy. And that is something that is very important to me now. And that's what helped. That's another thing besides the discipline, but it helped me be more disciplined to choose healthy for him. Yeah. Well, so cheese is permissible on THM, but it's not beneficial for me. So that's kind of where I was going with that. But yes, that's right.
But you're doing it for him because you've recognized that this is his.
That's right.
You are bought. You're bought with a sacrifice. Yes. Anyway.
That's right. Woo!
Preach on.
Preach it.
Preach.
I love it. Okay. So do you have another habit? You haven't even partaken in the habit portion. I'm sorry. I got excited. Couldn't help it.
Okay. I know. It's all good. This is why we don't go 4 months without doing it.
We're going to try to do better. We're sorry.
It's okay. No, it's amazing because you've had so many wonderful stories to be able to share.
Yes.
They need their time to share and to celebrate what they've done and to let us learn from them. It's great. It's a community. It's a community. But I did write down a couple of things, and in case we don't discuss them all, I'll just run through them and then I'm going to elaborate on one. Breakfast. You know where I'm going with that one.
Yeah, my girl. I said, sister friend, you got to eat. What is wrong with you? And she's like, I don't like breakfast. I'm like, well, you start eating and watch what happens. Who was right?
Don't make me say it. Yeah. And honestly, with all the crazy that's been happening in the last, really since the surgery in August, I was doing great at the hospital and at the hotel because I was taking care of my dad and he needed to eat and we had to check his sugars every day. And, so I was eating breakfast and doing, but when I got home, it was just like kind of crazy and kind of getting into the rrhythm and just the emotional exhaustion. Plus I got home on a Saturday, Monday, sick. And I'm sure it was just all the stress on my body and just, I got exposed to something and whatever. I'm just praising the Lord that I got sick on Monday,
right
after I had been away from my dad. But I got back into the bad habit of not eating breakfast and just doing collagen coffee and didn't even click because that was my preset before. And that's not nutritious enough. Is it okay occasionally? Sure. But it wasn't enough as a daily kind of thing.
Because when we wake up, our body is ready to burn and it needs fuel. You don't start out on a 4-hour car ride with a quarter tank of gas. That's what you're doing with a collagen coffee. It's great, it's permissible, but it ain't gonna get you very far.
No.
And it's certainly it can get you to that 4-hour mark, but that's not what your body needs. And your metabolism is going to really love on you if you love on it. That's what I think.
Absolutely. And so it was when I recognized, I was like I had not had breakfast in many days. And I'm like, what am I doing?
Yep.
And so I made sure to get some good old breakfast and it was amazing, how I felt. And if you are one of those people who I don't eat breakfast, start with a collagen coffee and get used to having something and then, build on it from there. Then maybe a little yogurt or, one egg, just start somewhere.
Yes.
And build from that. And I've had clients that I've had to coach through that very same thing. And even they are amazed at how much better they feel in the afternoon because they started off right. So The other thing is pre-THM, my sugar addiction and binging. Like I would be good for a while and then I would binge. And if that is something that you deal with, just like alcoholics or smokers or drug users have their addictions, and it may be a battle for the rest of their lives, and they have to know what their triggers are, and they have to be aware of what sets them off or what is their temptation. Because that's very individualized. That is something that I have to recognize, is that I am a sugar addict. Now, can that be healed? Absolutely. But I have to recognize what my triggers are. And it's something I've struggled with recently, and I couldn't figure out what had caused this trigger, because it wasn't just stress. Like, something's not right here. Y'all, when I got sick, this was just a mistake. It just happened. There's a popsicle that has no sugar added, and it may not be perfect, but it's a really good option. And when I was sick, like I couldn't make myself eat. It was bad, but I needed hydration. And I sent my son to the store and I told him the specific brand and flavor. I'm like, get this popsicle. Well, what I didn't realize is there are two almost identical items in this brand. One is no sugar added. Yep. And one has sugar. And I didn't realize that. I had always done the grocery shopping and I knew which box to grab. And I didn't think anything of it. And for a week, I ate Outshine bars every day. And then it was just like, all of a sudden, like I have been craving. And I'm like, what in the world? And I couldn't figure it out. And the other day I went to get something out of the freezer and I saw the box and I thought, and I looked, and sure enough, there's two. One specifically says no sugar added and one doesn't. And so I had given myself the sugar for a week, not even knowing it. It wasn't a conscious choice. I'm not mad at my son. It happened. Yeah. But it's something I have to recognize is, that just that little amount can trigger something. And now I have to work through that and be aware and choose the foods that aren't going to feed that. I don't need to be making overnight cinnamon squares all week this week. I need to just get back into veggies and some fruit and kind of remind my taste buds, no, you love fresh berries.
Right.
They're really good to close your meal out. They're really good to add that little hit of freshness and sweetness. And because it was this I'm like, why? Where did this come from? And that's what it was. So before, I would just binge on all the sugar. Bad day. Yep. I was going to make an excuse to go into the gas station. I was going to make an excuse to go to the Dollar General or the grocery store. And I was going to do like Amy. Mine wasn't Reese's. Mine was Milky Ways, king size. But
this makes me want to be sick thinking about it. Oh
yeah. When you read the labels now, and that's so funny because I'm so cray about all natural medications and all natural, and trying to do things from a very holistic
and all that's
standpoint.
like one ingredient away from plastic.
It's you won't catch me putting margarine in my mouth. But put a Milky Way in front of me and I'm gonna think about it. Mm-hmm. And so you have to know, what are your triggers? What is your struggle? I know someone who sugar and sweets doesn't tempt her at all, but you put white rice in front of her and she's gonna want it all day, every day.
Wow.
So some people
care less about white rice. That's interesting.
Yeah, but like breads, white rice, white potatoes, any of those starchy things, that's where they go. They can pass up every sweet in the world. Me? Woo-hoo! No. I need to find all the replacements for the Christmas candies and the Halloween candies and the, all the things, because that
Speaking of Christmas candy, drop your info.
Yeah, Tipsmas is coming back. The 12 coaches of Tipsmas. We will be doing a holiday edition. Amy's going to have to tell you the dates because I don't know. They're in November. Hang on, I can tell you.
The 6th through the 19th. It's going to be 2 weeks this time.
That's it.
Woohoo! We're changing it up.
Changing it up. So you have more time to really soak in and get what each of the 12 coaches are doing. But I'm going to do Christmas candies because it's what I need.
It is.
But that's what you need to know. You need to recognize and be willing to admit where your struggle is.
So, yes. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say, there's so many things in Trim Healthy Mama that I can improve upon, that you can improve upon, but knowing what really is your stumbling block is so important, and be willing to admit it, at least to yourself, so that you can recognize it and do, because if you just keep shoving it in the dark,
That's right.
it's going to keep tripping you up.
That's right. So in Blooms, we started this Bible study. It's called the Satisfied Workbook. It's a spiritual guide to recovery and food freedom by Rona Epstein. And her name kind of freaked me out for a second, but it's okay. We all good. She's a beautiful Christian psychologist. I mean, her name is Rona Epstein. It kind of freaked me out.
I know. I have to check into that.
Anyway, she is incredible Christian counselor, psychology. Anyway, she took the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous and wrote a Bible study for food freedom. And it is incredible. We're in chapter 4 in Blooms, but we're taking the entire month of October for chapter 4 because it is a personal, kind of like emotional inventory. And it, just like the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous, that you have to admit you have a problem and then go through all the things. And so this is the decluttering of your soul. Is chapter 4. And so we've gone through things like anger, bitterness, and resentment, different things like that. But it does everything that you said about the triggers and admitting you have a problem. I mean, that's what this is. So if anybody, you can do this on your own. It is not something you have to do with me in Blooms. But if you've done buds or one-on-one with me or whatever, you're welcome to hop in. You can watch all the replays. Anybody that finishes buds can watch the replays once you get into Blooms, if that's something you're interested in. Or like I said, you can do this right by yourself. This is the workbook, but she also has a book, and she has free YouTube videos where she reviews each chapter.
Wow.
And it's free, of course, on the YouTubes. But this has been, is it the balm of Gilead? Am I saying that correctly from the Bible? It has been the balm of Gilead upon my soul. It has healed. It has helped heal places that I didn't know were still gaping open wounds.
Wow.
For somebody, I mean, I feel like I've healed a lot of places. Well, not so much. But this has been amazing. And to walk through it with a group of people that I know and love has been even more special. And so please get this. I got it at what's the store in Hammond? Is it Books A Million?
Yes.
Anyway, yeah, that's where I got this. I bought 5 Bible studies about food and stuff like that. And this is the one that I landed on for my Blooms group. And it is incredible. So y'all check that out.
That's awesome. I'm gonna have to, I wrote it down. I'm gonna have to check that out because I've actually been wanting to start a new Bible study. So that might be the next one I do.
And it's an easy read. It doesn't take long, but it brings up scripture and how to apply it better to our lives. And I've been able to, part of it isn't memorizing scripture, but I've done that kind of extra, I guess you'd say. And I've actually written in full life sentences, which for me, when I'm writing answers, I just want to do little lists. Yeah, I've written sentences and it made sense. Like somebody else opened the book, they'd understand. So anyway, I was very proud of that. Those are things that I need to overcome because I have a habit of skimming the surface. I do just enough and things like that. I don't know why. But I can make the menu and go to CrossFit and do all those hard things. So anyway, I'm trying to, my little ladder, I'm just going up just a little at a time to improve myself. Yeah.
Little steps.
All right. We're going to table the food discussion for another podcast, but do you have any other another habit that you wanted to bring up today?
Well, I did write down naps because pre-THM, I was in such an unhealthy place. I couldn't function during the day. I literally, and this has been 10 years ago because we started homeschooling 10 years ago. So I would literally take my children to school, come home, get on the couch, set an alarm, and I would sleep until it was time for them to come back. I would go pick them up and I would come back, and it would be a struggle to get through the day. And that was really kind of what started me on the search for what should I do. It took me 4 years to find it, but movement, while I am not a CrossFit person, mainly because I ain't driving 30 minutes all the way to Macomb.
She came to the first few classes with me and then she went,
Nah. Well, I before you. I
You
went
did
before
go.
you.
You did
Mhm.
go before me.
I went before you, and I enjoyed it, but it just, a class setting like that is not for me. And the drive to town, it is
Yeah, I don't
just,
blame you. I don't
yeah,
blame you.
it's a lot. So, because nothing's open. So if I had to do something else in town, I would have to make it, it just wasn't worth it. But anyway, but I keep that stage of my life in my brain because I don't ever want to go back to that. So while I may not be the CrossFit champion, stay moving, stay active, do something. Maybe I'm just, get outside and walk. If I'm on a long phone call, if you could see me on Google Satellites, it'd be hilarious because I have a pool in my backyard and it's got a concrete deck. So I literally walk, and there's still you have to go across the diving board. So it's like step up, down, and around. A lot of my steps are right there. It doesn't matter if it's rained because it's concrete. It doesn't matter if it's, whatever. It's just right there. And so I try to get movement in because I never want to go back to that.
Amen.
Even if I don't hit my steps every day, even if I don't whatever, I am conscious of move more. Now that's one of my goals for the rest of this year, is to see how much more I can increase that. But it's like I refuse to let myself ever go back to that. Because not only was it medically necessary at the time because I was just so unhealthy, but it also just kind of becomes a coping mechanism and a habit of, life is stressful. I'm not going
to let you do that.
No.
That's why I texted you that, whatever day that was, Wednesday.
Yeah.
Was it Wednesday? Yeah.
Probably. Yeah.
Got
to take care of ourselves.
Time to take care of you, girl.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what I was going to bring up when I paused our first thing. So, or no, when I said, hey, we got to start recording because I want to talk about this. So Jennifer has been so focused on others, her daddy, her son, her husband, going on trips and different things. And then yesterday she pops up these pictures of everything that she did yesterday. So she went and got a massage and her hair done, and she went and had lunch with our friend that brought us from Healthy Mama. Thank you so much, Christy. Shout out, you best. And she also went to a JV ball game. What?
Yeah.
I was like, okay, that's a whole lot of things. Slow down. And I have not left my house from Saturday night till this morning. Today's Friday, y'all. It's been almost an entire week. I hadn't even left my house.
That sounds pretty fabulous, to be honest. But part of that was I keep promises to myself. And I had struggled with some things stress-wise. And I had gotten massages a while back, just trying to kind of help relieve some of that. And I don't get my nails done. I don't get my hair did, like coloring and, all that kind of stuff. And
I'm going in an hour and a half. Very excited.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not knocking any of that, but like, I don't do those upkeep things that a lot of women really enjoy. And so this has kind of become my thing. And so when I have my massage, I reschedule it. Well, it just so happened that everything fell into one day, but I keep promises not only to myself, but to other people. And at the beginning of football season, the most precious child ever.
I'm so sweet.
She really is. She has blessed my life. I've only known her for a little over 3 years, and her name is Lucy. She's precious. And she is a junior high cheerleader. And she had mentioned, the games and the pep rally, and you ought to come, Miss Jennifer. And I said, you know what? I will. I promise I'll come. Well, then my daddy got the call for a kidney at the beginning of football season. And it's just been crazy. And I couldn't do it. And when I realized this was my last chance, it was like, you know what? It doesn't matter that I'm tired. It doesn't matter. I keep promises, as Amy says, not only to myself, but to others. And I'm good at keeping promises to others, not so much to myself. And so even though yesterday was psycho and crazy and I was running, I kept those promises to myself. And it was pretty amazing when I walked up to that ball field and Lucy just lit up. I wasn't her only cheerleader there. She had quite a few people in her cheer. But it was fun, and I haven't been to a junior high football game in a long time.
You should have taken Camp. He loves going to ball games.
I never even thought about it.
He would have met you with him.
Bet you would have. I bet you would have. And I had a buy in my purse. And, I just walked right on up in there because I hadn't been to a game in so long. I didn't know if they had even halfway anything. And I didn't want a bunless burger. But yeah, it was good. It was fun. I did all the things yesterday.
You did all the things. Well, I was just going to say that I was very impressed. It was kind of funny because I'm usually going and doing, well, before, as Jennifer said, she slept all day. But I was going. And so it was like, not that I was sleeping all day, but I didn't leave my house. So it was just kind of funny to me with the topic and actually what happened yesterday. We did walk to Wes's parents yesterday afternoon, but that still don't count. I did not get in a vehicle. My admin, Cindy, her daddy passed away. And so we drove up to Jackson Saturday to visit with them. And since when we got home Saturday night up until this morning when I went to CrossFit, that just cracks me up that I didn't go anywhere. Wes was like, you have not left the house because camp had fever Sunday, so I didn't go to church. And I didn't feel well Monday or Wednesday enough to CrossFit. And so there was nowhere for me to be.
And it's okay. We have seasons of busyness and we can have seasons of rest. And, there is a time for everything. And it's Trim Healthy Mama really is so much about balance, because we're not just trim, we're not just mamas or people or women or, there's men doing it too, but it's that healthy. And to me, that's that balance. There's going to be seasons. There's going to be times you're stuck in a hospital where you have no choices to be 100% on plan because life happens, but there's always a better choice. There's always a better, okay, I could do this or I could do this. And you want to do the best for yourself every time you can. Every time you can, no matter what your circumstances are. And if you're just starting out and, you can make, a couple laps around your living room while you're on a phone call, great, start there.
That's right.
You don't have to do, oh, well, I need to exercise, so I've got to go do CrossFit. No. You can start somewhere. You can always make a better choice than just sitting on the couch or caving to the things at the dollar store. Y'all, I'm telling you, have your support people, whether it's one of us coaches or a friend. I have literally called Amy because I'm like, okay, I'm about to hit this checkout. And that was a huge temptation for me because, they got all that junk right there. And I have called her and talked to her as I checked out because I knew I was not putting the Milky Way on that cart while I had her on the phone.
And I yelled THM, Jesus, Holy Spirit.
Sometimes. I have another friend. I just happened to be Marco Poloing with her. And the whole way home, I had been thinking, well, I could just stop here and get this. I could just, and I just said it out loud. I said, hey, this is going through my head. And I just need you to know I'm about a mile from the Dollar General. And if this stops, you'll know I caved. I'm fixing to take a left to go home. If I don't turn left, I caved. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, I'm turning left. Because we need to realize when we have those low moments. I mean, there's been a lot of heaviness this year for me. Hey, the last 3 years have been psycho for everybody.
Yeah, you're right.
So we've all had crazy and stuff, and you just need to recognize it and reach out to somebody.
Yeah, I think accountability and a specific, realistic goal is key. And even if your goal is, I want to lose 20 pounds, well, you got to break that down. Because 20 pounds isn't going to happen in a week. You got to break it down. What, and I say this all the time, your actions have to match your goals. So if your goal is to lose 20 pounds, you got to break it down. What are the actions that I need to take? And I think that's what's most important. Well, we will come back in a month or so and finish this because I've got people in between and things, but JJ will be back regularly. She's like, I really want to come back to your podcast. And I'm like, oh, okay, I love you too. We have figured out Friday morning, 8 a.m. Holy cow.
She's like, are you sure you can do that? I'm like, if I know I have to talk at 8 a.m., I can do it. I am not a morning person. Do not speak to me while I'm drinking my first cup of coffee.
Even especially the BFF. She was like, Amy, shush. Because my feet hit the floor and I'm just like this until I go to sleep. I don't care. All the time. And she is not. You have to be quiet. May I speak yet?
Start with a whisper. Start with a whisper.
Yes. May I turn the light on?
To start with a whisper, I actually had somebody text me. She's my friend I met through you, Elizabeth. She
Yes.
texted me one morning early, and she sent this text, and it was super early, but my phone does not make a noise until 8 a.m. Does not happen. And so, but I was awake and I saw it. And so she sent the first text, and then the second text said, by the way, that was in a whisper.
I love it. I love
I
it.
didn't
Well,
respond till 8 o'clock because I have a rule.
that's right. No, that's totally cool. I think it's good boundaries. It's good boundaries.
Well, I just know what works best for me, and I'm a slower morning, but you need me at midnight, I'm your girl.
That's right. That's right. You are.
Yeah. So
Mercy. She's been that for me many a day. Well, thanks for being a guest again.
yeah, thank you for having me. It's always fun. It encourages me too, because it helps me think through all the things that I've shared with people, or I've learned from my clients, or learned from you. Sometimes it just helps to get it out there and
Absolutely.
remember.
That's right.
Remember where we started, so that we can be proud of where we've come, but also be encouraged to finish strong, finish well.
That's right. That's right. That's right. You want to tell them bye?
Bye.
Bye, y'all.